Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language. As always, I'll go first. I was in Budapest in some cafe, and me and my American friends, we were laughing, having a good time. They were asking me what things on the menu are. I was telling them, but some dudes up front talking about how we're just stupid American girls. So I didn't say anything. I just casually went up and placed 5 orders in Hungarian in front of them.
Tell me about a time that someone spoke bad about you in your language and then you showed them that you understand the language. I'll go first. So we were in Paris and a lot of people in Paris speak Arabic. We were in Zara and this mother was shopping for her daughter, but her daughter wasn't with her. Her daughter was on FaceTime. She was walking around the shop with the phone saying, "Do you like this? Do you like this?" She was speaking Arabic to her daughter on FaceTime and I obviously understood it. I was lining up in the change rooms and she started walking towards me and she was telling her daughter like in Arabic that there's a girl that's the same height, like I'm going to get her to try on the clothes for you. She asked me to try on the clothes and I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Mind you, it was 40 degrees and we were on a Kentucky tour and we're already so late for everything. Like I don't have enough time to do anything, but I was like, all right, let's be nice and try on the clothes for her. Anyway, I came out of the change room in the dress to show her daughter on FaceTime and they're speaking in Arabic saying like, it looks good. And the mom's like, yeah, she's the same height as you, but she's just fat. And I was like, she said in Arabic, she literally called me fat to my face. With no hesitation that I could possibly understand the language. I was like, sorry, I'm on holidays, I've gained a few kilos. She didn't even say sorry.
I couldn't find that other video to stitch, but tell me about the time that other people spoke about you in another language that you understood. My background, I am Thai, so when I was abroad, I went to this Thai restaurant. A really good friend of mine brought me there and she was like, oh, the food here is really good and you're Thai, so you must like it. So I sat down and the servers were staring at me. But my table was so close to their counter, so I could literally hear what they were talking. And they were basically saying something like, "Uy, คนนี้น่ารักเนอะแต่ตัวเตี้ยมากเลยอะมากับผู้หญิงด้วยผู้หญิงสูงกว่าอีกโอ้ตอนเด็กๆกินนมไม่พอแน่ๆเลย." Obviously, they didn't think I was Thai, so when they approached my table, they were speaking to me in English, and I just replied back, เอาคั่วกลิ้งไก่ครับแล้วก็ตอนเด็กๆผมกินนมนะครับแต่พ่อแม่ผมไม่สูงครับผมเลยไม่สูง And then they were just like, because they know their tips weren't gonna be great on my table. Yeah, so mind your damn business. I want to be taller, but this is all I got,
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
I have a lot of stories like this because I speak 4 languages: Turkish, German, Swiss German, and English. So this happened in 2016. I was in a public bus with my kids and I spoke English to them because we live in Florida, right? So one of the guys in a teenager group went to his friend and said in Turkish, "Oh, look at this woman. She speaks English to her kids like if it was something bad." And I looked at him and I went in Turkish and said, "So it's weird that I speak English to my kids in Switzerland, but it is not weird for you to speak Turkish in Switzerland. Am I missing something?" And he was just shocked. And he went very small in his chair, so that was pretty funny.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Okay, so basically, I work in a restaurant, and someone else in the restaurant took an order for one of my tables while I was on my lunch break. And I came back from my lunch break, and there was a drinks order set to go to that table. I brought the drinks up to the table, and the lady at the table was like, "Those aren't our drinks," and she started getting really angry about it. Her boyfriend, on the other hand, was like really friendly, actually kind of overly friendly with it. He was really nice, but he was overly friendly with me. She was getting really angry though. So I went back down to the bar and I was like, what happened here? It turns out the person that was covering my table when I was on my lunch break got the 2 tables next to each other mixed up so that she put the drinks orders on the wrong tables. Simple mistake, can be fixed easily. I went back up, explained the situation and apologised to the lady, and she was still angry. Her boyfriend was still being really nice. Basically, she turned to her friend and said "Kemarikan," which basically means "what a faggot." I turned back around and said "Perrete estare," which basically means "bitch, I'll fucking drag you." And yeah, that's my experience with meeting Camila Cabello, so...
Someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
I swear, every time my mom and I go back to Sarawak, this shit always happens. Like, the aunties there are so judgmental and racist. I'm not even kidding. Every time they see me, they be like, "Apo, pedaknya anak Tambi." Yes, Tambi means younger brother, but to them, Tambi means Indian. So I'll be like, "Racist much?" And then they'll look at me and they'll like try to talk to me in English because they assume that's the only language I know. So they'll be like, "Hi, how is you?" Yes, I don't need much. They can't even speak English and they're judging me for apparently not knowing how to speak Iban. And then like they continue on their conversation like, dia mesti pedak ke dia ni anak aku pergi, all that nonsense. And I'll just be like, anak dia yang mancalnya, ia lari keluar bawah tadi. And they'll be like, what did she just say? And they look to my mom be like, ia namo jago iban ka? And my mom be like, ia namo smit ba? And they'll be like,
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
15 years ago, I was a waitress at a bar in Calgary called the TNC on 17th Ave. And there was a lot of like working guys, like crews that would come in from all over the country. And one night there's these Quebecer guys that come in. I speak French, like I grew up in Quebec. But, you know, they were ordering in English and I figured, you know, let's see how this goes. So over the course of the night, as I'm bringing them beers, I overhear them say how they would take their turns bending me over the table and basically gang rape me. So I acted like I didn't understand anything that they were saying and just played dumb till last call. And when it came time to bring like their last beers, I just sat them down on the table and told them straight up in Quebecois, bon ben bonne soirée les gars. Well, let's just say that a lot of jaws dropped. I got quite a bit of tips and a lot of apologies. Assholes.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
So this happened a long time ago, but I remember like it was yesterday. So I'm working in retail and I'm bagging this woman's stuff. This woman is Spanish. So while I'm bagging her stuff, I am struggling to get her stuff into a bag and it's taking me forever. So this woman turns to another Spanish woman behind her and starts speaking Spanish. And she says the words, something, mujer and rapido. And knowing what I know from taking like my high school 1 and 2 class, Spanish 1 and 2 classes, I know the mujer means woman and rapido obviously means quickly or rapidly. And so after she talks to her, like they start laughing. So I was like, okay. So I get done bagging her stuff and I say, I'm sorry, miss. Maybe if I was a woman, I could have got it done faster. And she just stands there shocked and she's like, no. And I was like, yeah, I caught you, miss.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
When I was 16, I became an exchange student and went over to Australia. My host parents were picking me up at the airport along with another boy who was from Austria. At the time, my host parents were also hosting a guy from Germany. Both of the guys spoke German. Little did they know I was currently taking German. So our host parents and the German boy pick us up at the airport. We all get crammed in this tiny vehicle and we're just having small talk in the back. All of a sudden, the guys start switching to German. I wanted to test my new German skills, so I thought I would just listen for a little bit. Then they start talking about me. And they are talking about the pretty American girl who they're going to be living with. I let this carry on for a little bit, because who doesn't like hearing compliments? Then my host mom says, hey, speak in English so Becca can understand. I look at both boys and I say, it's okay, I understand them. I speak German too. Both boys' faces when they looked at each other, they started laughing and then I gave them a few sentences in German. But yeah. Gotta expect the unexpected.
This is part 2 on how to find out if someone's talking bad about you in their language. So I turn around and like gesture and tell the lady, like, you can go in front of me. She looks at me so shocked and she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was like, what? I had faith in you. And bearing in mind, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what she said about me. I couldn't speak her language. But she must have thought I understood her and like what she was saying was to do with me being in front of her. So then my face was like, because I'm like confused, but then I'm still like angry, like, why were you talking bad about me? But yeah, she went in front of me and then I was with my friends, were like, damn, guys, did you just see that? So my tip is, if you want to see if someone's talking about you, turn around, kind of act confused and a bit outraged, and if they react with like apologies, then you know they were talking about you.